She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
So my focus was, if I made my goal the customer's goal, then I know that I will end up with referrals. They will get what they want, I will get what I want, right? I want to build a business. The way to build a business is relationship first. The business will always follow. So as long as you keep that customer and their experience a higher priority, you are going to succeed greatly in your career. So my focus was getting those. I had a binder that had other things in it, emptied it out, and I told them when I wrote it in my scripting that they had to do a before and after picture, that I was not looking for people who wanted to have a bunch of excuses. I wasn't looking for somebody that wanted to try 17 diets and continue to fail, but this had to be the very last one, and I was committed to them, helping them get to their goal, because we needed a before and after picture. So from there, that first 40 customers then turned into hundreds of customers, to thousands of customers, and a business that grew far faster than I could ever even keep up with it. And so those simple little things like solve the problem. What problem is in front of you that is stopping you from growth right now? Do you know what is stopping you from growth right now? You found out earlier that you were majorly the problem. But there's other things too. So let's get in and dissect this. It's really important. How do you increase your income? Well, first of all, if that's something that you want to do, again, you ask yourself that question. How can I make more money? What are ways you can make more money? Yes, a skill set in what, though? What are ways you can make more money? Just tell me. There could be conventional ways. It could be unconventional ways. I have a goddaughter who goes and buys things at thrift stores and sells them on eBay. She's doing it 10 hours a week. She's making $2,000 net a month. 10 hours a week, making $2,000 a month. Buying other people's old crap, taking a picture of it with her cell phone, writing a description of it, and putting it on eBay, and she's making $2,000 a month working 10 hours a week. The 10 hours a week, including going to the thrift stores and buying other people's crap. Buying what somebody else has thrown away and using it to make a profit for herself. So her absolute profit, I'm not talking about her gross, I said her net profit is $2,000 a month. So what are some things that you can do to increase your income? There's lots of different things you could do. How many of you could work more hours? How many of you tried that? You could work more hours, right? That could increase your income. What is something else you could do to increase your income? Take a second job. You could take a second job. That's another way to increase your income. Yep. Sometimes taking a second job is better than working overtime because of taxes. Yeah, taxes totally rape you when you have more than 10 hours a week of overtime. It's a wash. It's better to have a second job than it is to have, 20 hours a week in overtime. What are some other things you could do? You can hire people so you can get more done. It's true. It's another way to increase your income. You could learn another language, absolutely. You could learn another language, and that can actually help to make you money. So true. And in some countries, that's what determines whether or not you will make good money, is whether or not you can speak more than one language, depending on where you come from. All right, the rest of you make plenty of money and you don't need to know how, so that's good. We're done, we can go home now. Okay, so how you increase your income is by increasing your value. Let's talk about this. How many of you are already currently employed or you own a business? Either way, okay? All right, so when I talk about doing something that's right in front of you, remember I had something that was behind me and also in front of my eyeballs in the rearview mirror. It was something very simple, sitting right there by me, selling something that somebody else made, right? I didn't create that product, but I made $250,000 off of that product my very first year. Okay, my second year, I actually started manufacturing my own. I made my first $1 million manufacturing my own product. And building a sales force that sold that product. That's where I made my first $1 million, was doing something crazy. Taking the money that I had made from selling somebody else's product and I invested into manufacturing my own and then marketed that. We did $5 million in 11 months. Yep, I was 23. I was 23 years old. 23. It was between then. So, to start a company without knowing anything about what I'm doing, I don't have a freaking clue, right? Our first week, we did $500,000. I have no idea how that happened. None. There's some specific skills I used to make that happen, but I mean, to $500,000 to then $5 million. I mean, that's pretty good success by the time you're 23, $5 million. And yeah, that's not bad. $5 million is a good chunk of change. That was only one company. He had two companies at the same time. The other company did another $2 million. $7 million in a year? 22, 23? Not too shabby. I need to go back to myself. You did a good job, girl. That's pretty impressive. Okay. Yeah, that all happened by the time before I was 25. All right, so, which, if you're 50 and you're just starting out, don't worry about it. You got another 40 years of your life to figure it out. You're good. You're good. All right, so if you already have a business or you're working for somebody that does, let me show you some places where you can increase your income with what you're already doing, okay? Number one, you need to learn to solve problems, especially people problems. Quit running from problems, head straight into them. Number two, be more dependable, consistent, and have more initiative than everyone else that is around you. The only way you're going to stand out of the crowd is by having more initiative. Do you hear me? Being more consistent and being more dependable. These are three really big problems that are in the marketplace today. People are less consistent, less dependable, and nearly have no initiative in the marketplace today. It's the weirdest thing. So no joke, there's business owners in here right now going, yep, if I could find people that had initiative, woo! If I could find people who are consistent and dependable. Why? We have a very distracted society that we're living in today. We have a very self-absorbed, distracted society that we're in. And so if you are more dependable, more consistent, and have more initiative than everybody else around you, you're going to rise to the top and you're going to get promoted. If you have the same amount of everybody else, then you can just pretty much count on no raise. Why? Because you get a raise by raising your value. You get a raise by raising your value. You don't get a raise by showing up. You don't get a raise by doing the job you were hired for, the pay you were hired to do. You get a raise for doing more than what was expected. You get a raise by bringing more value to the company than what was already there before you actually got there. Okay? Number three, you find out what it takes to increase profits. Find out what it takes to increase profits. If you do these three things, you will make an obscene amount of money. These three things: solve people problems, be more dependable, consistent, and have more initiative than everybody else, and find out what it takes to increase profits. Now, how do you do that? Number one, find out what it takes to make more profits. Learn how to bring in new business, new referrals. If you spend 80% of your time focused on getting new business, you would be very successful. And you would have more value to your company. You as the employer or you as the employee, you would have more value to the business. The business itself is a separate entity. It's like a totally different person, has its own tax code. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's its own human breathing machine all by itself. So if you spend most of your time in getting new business, which we'll talk about right now, you will increase the profits automatically. Getting new business means increase of income. Okay, next, how can you cut the costs? How can you make the business more efficient? Now, you might be saying right now, but Dani, that's not my job. You're right, fool. Make it your job. Didn't you hear what I said? If you want to raise, that means you need to raise your value. Increasing the profits of the business automatically raises your value. No, but that's somebody else's job. No, it's not. If you want to raise your value, make it your job. Do you hear me? Make it your job. Make it your mindset of, I'm going to focus on helping this business grow. Okay, I'm going to focus on making this business grow, regardless if I'm the owner or not. If you treat the job that you have as though it is your personal business, and you give it the same level of honor and respect that your personal business should have, you're going to get ranked up fast. And you could even double your income. I've watched an engineer go from $35,000 a year within 5 years being the vice president of a $100 million business. Yep. From $35,000 a year within 5 years, $350,000 a year. He grew his income 10 times in 5 years. 10 times. Why? Well, the 10 years before that, he was just an engineer. That's all he was. I'm just an engineer. I'm just doing my job. Just doing my job. Clocking in and clocking out. Just, I'm here at 9. Click. I'm on at 5. Bye. I take my lunch at noon. I take my 15-minute break at 10. I take my next 15-minute break at 3. That's what he was. He didn't care about the business. He didn't care for his boss. He didn't care for his coworkers. He didn't care about anything. He was just punching in and punching out. After first steps in creating a dynasty, came for 5 straight years. This guy got into his head. If I were the owner of this place, I would pick up the trash off the floor. If I was the owner of this place, I would make sure that the receptionist was feeling good about her job. If I was the owner of this place, I'd make sure that every employee here felt good about their job. If I was the owner of this place, I'd be concerned about making it more efficient. If I was the owner of this place, I would actually be getting things done earlier. If I was the owner and I cared about this place and I had my whole life invested in this thing, if I had mortgaged my house to start this business, there's a whole lot of things I'd be doing different. I'd be taking risks. I would bring an initiative. I'd be doing research on the side. I'd be increasing my skill. These are all the things I'd be doing if I treated this place like I own this place. Well, he got up to a vice president. Within 5 years, making 10 times the money. Why? He learned how to solve people problems. He learned how to treat the business with much more value. He was far more dependable, far more consistent, and obviously had more initiative than everybody else in that place. He focused on getting new business, bringing new clients in, even though that was the sales department to do. That's the sales department, is to sell the software that we make. I make software. My job is not sales. That's the salespeople's job. That's not my job. Great, then stay broke. Stay right where you're at. That's the mindset of a 98%er. You will never grow your income with the attitude of, that's not my job. If you're the owner, you are responsible for the job getting done, no matter what the job is. So in this case, with this engineer, it wasn't, all right, he's out there, he's in Chamber of Commerce meetings. He's out there getting involved in the community. He's out there making phone calls. He's calling his own personal contacts to find out who actually needs something like the software it is that they are creating. He's doing all that. How many of you like to grow your income in the next 5 years by 10? That was his vision. And guess what's awesome is that he didn't have to take the responsibility of the business. He got to make $350,000 a year, but when he went home at night, it wasn't on his shoulders or his tax return. Meaning as far as the whole company goes, the responsibility of it. Okay, so learn how to get new business to bring in referrals. Number 2, learn how to cut the cost where money and time is being wasted. Learn to find where money and time is being wasted. Learn how to retain more business by keeping the customers and the employees engaged. So learn how to retain more business, keeping people engaged. Number 4, bring in better talent than what is already there. Bring in better talent than what is already there. We are on a rampage right now of doing just that. That is our mission right now, is bringing in better talent than what we have already and what we've had in the past. Not that we didn't have great talent in the past. We have. Got us to where we're at. But if we want to go to where we want to go, we have to have much more talent in the house. People that are even more committed to the mission and the vision and the values of our business. Okay, so better talent. Better talent. A lot of people end up hiring just what they can get. That's nonsense. So if you're an employee working for a business, I have a question for you. Could you go get new business for the business? I would just want to see that. As an employee, I don't care if you're the receptionist or the warehouseman, can you go get customers for the business? Show of hands, how many say yes? Does it matter what your title is? Get rid of your stupid title. Don't let your title be your prison. Let me tell you something. The current owner of the business used to do your job. The current owner of the business used to do your job. How do I know this? The only reason why you have a job is because he needed to move to a different job within the same business. But whether it is a farmer or a guy who owns all kinds of farms, he first started with planting seed. He first started with tilling soil. Do you understand? He first started with the weeds. Then eventually got to a place that now he's teaching other people how to do that. And then eventually hiring other people that could teach the people to actually do that. And he's the guy that's doing all the PR. He's the one promoting the food all over the place. Do you understand? So as you start in a business, the very early stages of it is actually doing all the grunt work yourself. Then pretty soon you replace yourself by offering that job to someone else. They're doing that job. You make sure they're trained to do it. Now you move on to something else. But I'm telling you, the owner drove the truck you're driving. The owner pulled the weeds you're pulling. The owner dealt with all the same stuff you're doing and moved himself up by how? Learning new skills, developing other people. So he had to still go get customers and do the deliveries. He also had to do the taxes. He also had to manage the phone calls. Do you understand? You start thinking like a business owner, which is what do we call an employeepreneur. And there are some of you, yeah, but you know, my goal is to fire my boss one day and just have my own business. You have fun with that attitude. You have fun with that attitude. You will reap what you sow. And when you start your own business, right now you can't figure out how come you can't find good people because you were never a good one. You will recruit who you are, always. You will recruit who you are. And the bottom line is if you sow dishonor into a field, you're going to reap dishonor. You sow honor and respect and growth into a place, you are going to reap the same exact thing. So how you treat your leader, your boss, your father, your mother, get ready, baby. It's all going to come back to you. And it sucks when it does. It sucks when it does. It all comes back. It sucks when it does. So start sowing good seed. Okay, so I'm going to ask the question again. And all employees, who here is an employee of somebody else? Can you bring in customers into that business? Absolutely. Now watch, most people don't. Most employees never talk good about the business that they're coming from. They never talk about the boss, the business, the brand, the product, the service, nothing. They punch in, they punch out, they're done. You want to grow? Do what others won't do. And that is go get customers for that business. Go get referrals for that business. And you have to ask yourself, why would I not? Why would I not? Ego is the only reason. Ego is the only reason. There's something you have allowed to get under your saddle, a bird that's under your saddle. You have chosen to get offended. You've chosen to be uptight or upset. You don't think things should be run this way. Shut up and follow directions. When it's your business and you're dealing with the millions of dollars of responsibility and decisions that have to be made, let's see how well you do. Let's see how well you do. The only reason why you don't have that yet is because you're not ready for it. Get yourself ready for it by changing how you're approaching the problems right now.
Have you ever wondered if your investments are making enough money for retirement? What if you could buy an investment rental property for as little as $35,000 that rents for at least $550 a month? After Aaron and Drew Hudson asked themselves this question, Hudson Real Estate Investments was formed, and now 200 transactions have been conducted. Their system helps individuals buy and hold real estate. Their definition of a great buy and hold is a property that pays you a monthly positive cash flow from day one. Hudson Real Estate Investments has a team who find properties available for immediate purchase, vet tenants, and have qualified property management in place. So if you're looking to have freedom and live your life on your own terms, grab your phone and text the word FUTURE to 484848. Get started today. Text the word FUTURE to 484848. Secure your future now. Do you have a closet full of clothes yet say, I have nothing to wear? Are you a mom doing her best but desperately lacking me time? Or maybe your schedule has you dressing practically instead of powerfully. What if I told you there's a system, a blueprint that can save you time, money, and turn every head in the room, as well as impact the world through fashion? Friend, You're in the fashion business whether you like it or not. You're an ambassador representing your faith, your marriage, family, and business. Style is just a skill made easy with 123 Style Me. 10 steps to style success that will expand your leadership, save you hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. This program will bring you peace of mind, reignite your marriage, make you more productive, respected, and instantly boost your confidence, equipping you to be bold and beautiful. Go to courses.lindapage.com. Again, that is courses.linda, LINDAPAIGE.com, and make a priceless investment in yourself. Are you confident that you're always getting a good deal? Have you been equipped with the negotiation confidence, strategies, tactics, and supporting tools you need to close world-class deals? Finally, JPA is making the exact same specialized negotiation training and secrets used by the world's largest, most successful corporations available to everyone. Proven in more than 60 countries and used by brands like Adidas, Vodafone, Pfizer, Nokia, and others, the JPA negotiation method will set you up to save money and time while significantly increasing your profits. It doesn't matter if you're buying or selling real estate, closing contracts with suppliers, or selling products and services to individuals or organizations. Using their simple step-by-step negotiation preparation checklist, you'll be ready to confidently slug it out toe-to-toe with the toughest professional negotiators. It's time for you to stop leaving money and opportunity on the table. Go to bizneg.com/events to register now. Again, that's bizneg.com/events. Get registered today.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
How many of you could find costs within the business to cut in the business? How many of you, let me ask you a question, how many of you have wasted time? So if you have wasted time, let me ask you a question. How many of you have wasted time at work? Wait a second, and you're paid hourly. You've wasted time at work, so where's one place you could help the business to become more efficient? Stop wasting time yourself. I am. You could say ouch. So do you hear what I'm saying? That we've all wasted time, right? So that's one place, is that you could personally stop wasting time while you're supposed to be working, which would help you to become far more productive. If you're more productive, what are you? More valuable. You're more valuable. If you're more productive, you're more valuable. All it is focus. So it's stop wasting times, especially on things that don't matter. So you could actually cut the cost of the business because you'll be producing more, which means you'll be increasing the income and not wasting time. Okay? Could you learn how to retain more business and keep people engaged? What does that look like? So simple, so very, very simple. Again, the mindset of that's somebody else's job, that's customer service's job. That's not my job. Every single customer that walks in the door and every customer that you're engaging with, whether it's a wholesale business to business type of a model, or if it is business to customer, business to consumer, no matter what kind of model it is, guess what? You're responsible for those customers. That's if you want to grow. So if for you, no, that's somebody else's job, no, it's not. My brother was just telling me a story the other day. I was so proud of him, man. I freaking love my brother so much. He's an incredible man. So, so proud. So proud of my younger brother. And he's gorgeous and he's single. And stay away. He is here this weekend. Right over here. Right there. He's absolutely gorgeous. He's fit. He's healthy. He's strong. That's my little brother. That's my little brother. And his sister has a very high standard for whoever will be his wife. As well as his nieces and nephews also have. There's like 5 of them that you'll have to go through, plus me. So that makes 6 in order to qualify. His daughter is here this weekend looking for his wife. because he is not married, and she's been telling people everywhere she goes, I'm looking for a wife for my dad. Do you want to be my dad's wife? She's also here. I'm looking for my dad's wife. Do you want to be my dad's wife? So that's her right there. That's my little Kaylee. Okay, so we got to the wife conversation because this is what he said. He used to install satellites, right? And rather than it leaving it up to the salespeople, right? He's in the home, he's finding the need, he's solving the problem, and he's upselling left and right all throughout that. Hey, he was the number one salesperson, not being the salesperson. He's the guy installing them. You know, the guy who comes to deliver it? Yeah, he gets in front of you, and he's using people's skills and finding a need to fill it to get the people really what they need and how they actually want it done. So if he had the mindset of call sales, call the sales department, you should talk to Joe. Joe can help you with that. No, let me take care of that for you. Make sense? You got to break the barrier if it's not my job. It is your job. Taking care of the customer as though it is your customer and as though it is your business. All right, so how do we do that? Let's go there. How do we get more referrals? How do we cut the cost? How do we get more people engaged? How do we recruit better talent? Question, you're working for a company and they need to find better talent. Can you help them find better talent? Whether there is a bribe or not, can you help them find better talent? How would you go about finding talent? Huh? How would you go about finding talent? Someone says network. What else? Facebook. Yeah, absolutely. What else? Yeah, becoming the person they're looking for. That would be smart. Yeah, you can hit the streets. You can be asking people around, right? Listen, how many people are out of work in the United States alone? It's like, how many? It's over 30 million people that are out of work, right? So there's a lot of people out of work, and your company is hiring, and you're not telling anybody about it. What the heck is wrong with you? What does that mean? You're an isolated, egocentric, self-centered person. That's what you are. You're not helping your fellow man, and you're not helping the business that you work for. That's selfish. That's totally selfish. They're looking for talent, and you're keeping your mouth shut. You got to get out there and solve that problem for that business. How many of you know people? How many people do you know? Okay, well, let me walk you through a simple understanding about business, okay? There's going to be 7 basic steps of understanding business. Now, I just want to see again, how many of you are in business? How many of you are not? Who is not in business? Okay, so, all right, awesome. But those of you who are not in business, how many of you work for someone else? Okay, and or even if you're not, how many of you are stay-at-home parents? That's your full-time job as a stay-at-home parent. Okay, great. This even applies to the 10% of you that are here without a business, without a job. You have somebody else that provides for your needs, as I do, so blessed. My husband affords me the ability to be a volunteer. He's given me the blessing of him providing for us, and I get to be a volunteer and travel all over the world volunteering, okay? Why? Because my husband is a rock star. That's why. He has blessed me and given me that blessing, and so are my children. My children are not the kids that are saying, hey, you should be building that multi-million-dollar company so that I can have a good inheritance, man. What do you mean you're giving the money to the poor? That ain't right. That money should be coming to me. I have 3 of my kids that are here this weekend. That is not what these kids have said. That is not what they said. Not only that, but we don't believe in that anyway. Like, we have money set aside, but it's for their children to learn how to start businesses or to make more money. And they will too. There's a family bank, of course, that my husband and I have worked to build, a family bank that investments can be made out of and all that stuff, but we don't believe in die and distribute. So my kids are not waiting for me to die so they can get money. Although there are a few of them that have dibs on my wedding ring and some clothes and a car. I got dibs. I got dibs, Mom. I got dibs. It's just stuff that will end up in the trash or end up in their possession, but that's it. Anyway, so no matter if you're a stay-at-home parent, a full-time or a part-time business owner, this applies to you. This, like I said, if you're a full-time parent, you have somebody else that's doing the work of their job is bringing in the provision. Your work is keeping that home intact, raising up the kids, training up the next set of employees that are going to be working, or the next business people that are going to be working out in the world. So the first thing is expose. Okay? Exposure is what every business model needs. There is a restaurant in our little town which is the best restaurant in town. However, the business owner doesn't have a clue on how to advertise or to get the word out to bring more people in. So he's okay, he's moderately profitable, but he's not overly successful. He could be overly successful if he actually learned how to get outside of what his current skill set is and to expand his brand, to get people talking about you. Here's the question I have for you. What are you doing today that is causing people to talk about your brand? I was in Pennsylvania recently, sitting with a woman who had just heard her husband had just started a restaurant. They've got a great restaurant. They got great food. And they got great photography of their food. They do a really good job of their presentation, if you will. But I sat, and it's struggling. The business is just barely in the black now, which means that they haven't recovered their investment either. So they're just barely kind of right in there, all right? How many of you have ever had a business that's like that? You're just barely breaking even, right? Haven't recovered your initial investment, but it's just hanging right there. So that's where they were. Gorgeous couple, very talented, and she's asking me questions like, well, what can we do to grow our business? I said, well, let me ask you a question. What are you doing to cause your clients to want to tell their friends and family about you? What are you doing that is so different than every other restaurant in town that is causing them to talk about your business? And she sat there stumped. And then she says, well, we just hope that they enjoy themselves and they like the food enough to tell other people about it. Number one, a business plan on hope is no plan. That's not a business. That's a hobby. That's a hope and a prayer. Go to Vegas. Your odds will be better. They will. Go to Vegas. Your odds will be better. If you can't afford Vegas, go to Reno. You can still lose all your money there too. Okay? Well, I just hope that people will like it and then we'll tell other people about it. So do you know if your customers like the food? I think so. What is your number one selling product? Well, my favorite is... Well, I like... So the question I have for you is, what are you doing, you, what are you doing that is causing people to want to talk about you? Exposure. There's lots of different ways to get exposure. So there could be things you are doing that are causing customers to not talk about you. And there are things about your business that if you made a tiny little tweak would change everything. But most people just like to sell what they're excited about selling instead of finding out what people actually want and giving people what they actually want. So exposure. There's lots of different ways to expose. There's expensive ways to expose, and there's cheap ways to expose. And then there's free exposure. And the free exposure is how I've built every single business I have ever had, is with free exposure. So let's first talk about the expensive ones. Can you give me some ideas that maybe you have tried for exposure? By the way, a business that doesn't have exposure is not a business. You will never, ever build a business unless you have exposure. You have to get exposure. You have to be in front of people. People have to see and hear your brand somehow. They're not going to hear about it unless someone's talking about it. So what's some expensive ways of exposure? Radio. Okay, TV. What else? Billboards. What else? Magazines. So that's called print. That's print media. Okay, you got internet advertising. Okay, Chambers, what do you mean? Yes, so that is community. So you got BNI, you got Chamber of Commerce, okay? These are all places to expose your business, expose your brand. Just you being there, you represent that brand. Okay, you got Facebook, Twitter, you got all social media channels. Those are all great places for exposure as well. Say what? Posters? Yep, you bet. Absolutely. Posters are a great way. Trade shows. Yes. I hope you're writing these things down. These are all opportunities that you have to promote your brand. Employee or not. If you're the owner or the employee, you have a way that you can make inways into all of these places to get the word out about your business. Okay, so we've got a lot here already. What else is on there or should be on there? Huh? Parades. Parades are another way to get exposure. Telemarketing is another way to get exposure. Huh? Sign clipper? Whatever that is. Educational seminars are a way for you to get exposure for your brand, meaning you can be one presenting on behalf of your industry. Absolutely. So that will be presentations. Yep, that's how I did part of my business in my early days. Sponsorships. Yep, sponsorships is another way. Flyers. Okay, mailers. Do you know mail order still works? How, I don't know. But mail order still works to the tune of billions of dollars. Billions of dollars are generated through mailboxes still to this day. Even though most people do everything through email, people still get mail. And so those are still proven. In fact, the most successful ministries in the world get most of their donations through mail, through mail order, advertising through the mail, writing campaigns of a promise of a miracle in your life if you give $500 now. Decals. Okay, so that's using your car, merchandise, your body. You could be wearing things on your body that get exposure. For example, when I was in the weight loss business, which I am no longer in the weight loss business, I haven't been in the weight loss business since 1990. I sold my company in 96. I sold that business in 96, so it's 96. That's 21 years ago that I've not been in the weight loss business for a long time. Some people still think I am. No, I'm not. Great business. There will never, ever not be a need for weight loss. It will forever, ever, 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 ever be a product that will always, 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 always sell. No matter what. Seriously, health and fitness will always, 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 always be a great, strong industry to be a part of. So will travel. So will food. All of those things. So will makeup. All of those things will always be around forever and ever. So will fashion. Those things will always be around forever. Anyway, so what was I talking about? T-shirts. Thank you so much. So I used to wear a button on my shirt. I used to have a button that I wore on my shirt that said, "Lose weight now, ask me how." That was a button that I wore, okay? It worked. I could just be out and about and my goal was 10 new leads every single day. So that's just 10 people asking me about my button, which meant what? I'm at the grocery store, wherever. I'm with the kids, wherever. I'm at the park, you know what I mean? I wore it on my bathrobe because you never know who's coming to the door. I recruited a UPS driver once from that thing being on my shirt. And of course, I had this really cute Latin-looking kid on my hip named Roman who lunged from my arms into the UPS driver's arms. So, by the way, kids are great recruiting tools. Great way to get customers. If they're ugly, if they're cute, it doesn't matter. Just kids work in general for recruiting great business. So get you and your kids out of the house, and you will be able to have exposure out there, okay? So this button, I wore it. I probably did for years. Millions and millions of dollars from a button. Okay, I made one when I was out of the weight loss business. I've got a new attitude, ask me how. You want to be debt-free. That's like, those are great buttons. There's any type of advertising. It's the same as why real estate agents for years, and some of them still do, wear their name, and their brand that is on their shirt. Why? To get people to ask them about it. right? So want to be debt-free? It all depends on what it is that you're marketing. It's just a simple little phrase to get somebody to ask you a question.
Financing a home can be a nightmare if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Ask me. I know this. That's why the first thing you have to do is find a mortgage company you can trust that has your back through the entire process. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your current one, or looking for an investment property, Rick Fujisaki at Wintrust Mortgage wants to win your trust. Rick understands the mortgage industry, and he can take all the stress out of financing a home for you. His easy-to-use worksheets will help you calculate the mortgage you can afford. And he has a unique tool designed to help you find and set aside money for your down payment. And when you work with Rick, who, by the way, I love, a portion goes to caring for the poor through King's Ransom Foundation. So visit loanmortgageguys.com and start building your dream today. Again, contact Rick at loanmortgageguys.com.
Prior to getting to Dani Johnson's First Steps to Success, my husband and I were completely broke. We just filed bankruptcy. We lost our home to foreclosure and we were on food stamps. After the second day of her event, we figured out where all our money was going. We got ourselves out of debt in 3 months. We paid off $18,000 worth of debt and are completely debt-free. And now we've finally created a life of our dreams. We've made a 6-figure business and we're just doing everything that we want. So if you're thinking about coming to First Steps to Success, you've got to make it happen. Sign up right now and make sure you don't miss it.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was hopelessly lost in addiction. My relationships with people, coworkers, family, friends failed. I was struggling under the bondage of debt, and I had no clear vision or purpose for my life. After taking my first steps to success, I've been able to pay off $7,000 in debt in about 4.5 months. I have a clear vision and purpose for my life. I can honestly say that my addictions are a thing of the past. If you're interested in changing your life in whatever way, in whatever area, you need to log into DaniJohnson.com and you need to be at the next First Steps to Success.
Prior to coming to First Steps, I was miserable. I never talked to people because I thought I was shy, I thought I was boring, and I thought that I was destined to be alone forever. After coming to First Steps to Success, I broke through all of those lies. I built confidence and I used the skills that I've learned there to get myself an amazing job where I will be put quickly into a position of leadership. So if you're ready to find out who you are, why you are the way you are, and how to get new skills to dramatically change your life, you need to join me at the very next First Steps to Success. No excuses, no delays, get registered now.
Hi, my name is Paul. I'm from Massachusetts. And before plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was buried under a sea of self-doubt, fear, and my communication skills were non-existent. Sales non-existent as well. But after attending First Steps to Success, my sales have quadrupled, my fear has been lifted, and my relationships are better than ever because I communicate better than ever. If you want your life to turn around, all your dreams start coming to fruition, you are going to be at First Steps to Success.
Prior to plugging in to Dani Johnson, my husband and I were drowning in a sea of debt. I had broken relationships all around me of the ones that I cared most about, and I had started a company that was losing more money than it was making. And after plugging into Dani Johnson, we have paid off $196,000 in 13 months. My company has grown 90%, and I have relationships that I could never have even imagined with the ones I care most about around me. So I don't know about you, maybe you're making all the money you need to. Maybe you're doing great. Maybe your relationships are phenomenal. But if they're not, I encourage you to get to the next First Steps to Success.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
All right, so that's all forms of exposure. Also, all the shirts that I wore, all my casual clothes were nothing but my brand. It was a t-shirt. I was all our own company merchandise. People asked me, what is that about? So I had a company called Total Health, and that's what the shirt said. And I was 9 months pregnant with my son, Cabe, third child. I'm about to give birth. My car breaks down, literally, the week I'm due. So I'm not very happy. I'm pregnant, first of all. I'm swollen in every possible part of my body. Okay, my nose is big even. Anyway, so I'm taking my car there, and the guy's asking me questions about my shirt. 7:30 in the morning. No pregnant woman wants to be anywhere at 7:30 in the morning, ever. Not the week she's supposed to be delivering a child. No way, right? But here he is. He's drilling me about my shirt. I'm doing everything I can to tell him, leave me alone. Please fix my car. I don't want to talk about it. He ended up in my business. Why? Because I wore a shirt. If I didn't wear the shirt that day, that would not have happened. Do you know that still to this day, I have business from that one shirt, from that one lead, from that one mechanic. Still to this day. That was 23 years ago this October. My son will be 23. So 23 years ago, a shirt prompted a conversation. I still to this day receive royalties from that one exchange. 23 years in a row. Money. From why? A shirt. If I wasn't wearing that shirt that day, that conversation would not have happened. Do you understand? The button, I'm telling you, millions and millions of dollars from button and shirt. Simple exposure, all right? So there's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. And by the way, that's pretty cheap exposure, right? But you are honestly the best exposure, all right? So exposure. Here's some other things. Anything else? You got anything else? Anybody? Huh? I already said flyers. Were you sleeping? We already said all the Chamber of Commerce, those things. Yard signs, yep, that's another sign, okay? Well, let me give you one that is really, really obvious that most people miss. This isn't the free. Your employees. Your employees are your advertisers. Your employees. So depending on the quality of the relationship, determines whether or not they are going to refer you. Depending on whether or not you have the right people, as they say in business, you have the right people on the bus. If you got the right people on the bus, your employees are doing more for your business than any advertising can do. Yeah, the employees, because the employees are getting the, and same with your customers. Yep, your customers are also a place for exposure. So if there's no relationship with your customers, there is no advertising coming out of their mouths on your behalf. So this is usually what the mistake that most people make in business, is that they think they are selling their service or their product and that's it. No, every human is looking for connection. Every human is looking for relationship. And so it's the businesses that are great at building relationship with the public are the ones who have the most free advertising growing their business for them. All right, from the exposure, then there is the initial connection with the prospect. Okay, this is more of the person-to-person or at least conversation, right? There's some kind of a conversation, which is the initial connection with the prospect. Some people are really good with the initial connection, and some people are really bad with the initial connection. I'll give you an example of a really bad experience with an initial connection. A bad one would be like this little restaurant that was in our town about an hour north of here that had the best Italian food. He brought in his sausage from Sicily. He brought in all of his cheeses from Sicily. He was Sicilian. He was born and raised there. He was here, and he had this amazing, amazing food. However, his service sucked. His service sucked. And his service sucked so bad that it caused us to not go anymore, and I guess we weren't the only ones that stopped going. He went out of business. He actually at one point was very successful and rated the best in our town, and then it just went down from here. Now, let me tell you about the initial connection. Again, so it's a classic case of a 98%er who believes so much in their product but does not understand business. And business is people. If you build people, people build the business. I'm going to say that again. If you build people, people build the business. And so that's the part he didn't get. 98% of the population thinks that if they have a winning product or a winning service, that's what's gonna make the win. It is not. Let me prove it to you. How many of you shop at Walmart? What is at Walmart that is a winning, excellent, wonderfully put together product? Nothing. So you actually don't have to have the best product. It is ego that says, I have to be the best with my product or I have to have the best service. But that's not necessarily what somebody wants. And so in the case of food, why do people go to a restaurant and eat? He says because they're hungry. No, I could eat at home if I'm hungry. Right? I can eat at home if I'm hungry. It's the experience. Write that word down. It's a very important word. What experience are you bringing to the public? What experience are you bringing to work each day? What experience are you creating that is causing people to talk about you? So let me tell you about the experience that the Sicilian brought to our town with amazing food. I'm telling you, the sausage was like towing your curls. I mean, your toes curling. Hamstring cramping. You know what I'm talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Have you ever had an experience where your toes curled and your hamstrings cramped? Forget it. Somebody figured it out over there. You know what I'm saying? You're sweating, toes curling, hamstring, screaming. You can't breathe, you talk weird. Married people, do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, that's the kind of sausage. That was bad. That was bad. That was, edit! That was bad. That was, wow, and I almost made it worse by saying no, it was Italian sausage. That was so bad. His spaghetti and pizza and the meats that he used in his sauces, of which was pork and a little link. Nonetheless, Doug, I can hear you laughing. Okay, so cleaning myself up right now, he had great food. But great food is not enough to succeed. A great, Christina Rochelle, it's my child. Stop. You two probably shouldn't be sitting next to each other. Erica is red and Christina is brown. Stop it. Okay, so anyway, here's the deal. It's such a blessing to have my kids here. You have no idea how much that just blesses me, that my children would actually come and attend something like this is crazy. It's like, these poor kids were raised around this, you know what I mean? And people treat them sometimes nice, sometimes not nice, but nonetheless, I'm so blessed that they're here. And my sons-in-laws that are here, such a blessing. Okay, so anyway, back to the sausage. Thanks, Nina. That was good. Back to the food. So here it is. Initial connection with the customer is so important. You've heard this before. You have like one chance to make a first impression, right? So here is where this man failed. It wasn't in the quality of his food, but it was the quality of the connection with the public. So you come into his restaurant. It's hotter than it should be. That's okay. Pizza ovens are hot. Unfortunately, he has them right by the door. Not the best, most efficient place to put your pizza oven, that when someone walks through the door, immediately they feel the heat from the ovens. Okay, that's not a good experience, but okay, we can get past it because we heard the food is good, right? The waitress comes to the table. She does not make any eye contact. She makes no contact with the person. This is, again, the initial connection with the public. So she stands at the corner and says, "What can I get you to drink?" Looking at her paper, not making any eye contact with anybody, okay? She takes the orders, she leaves, she then comes and she throws down forks at the corner of the table and napkins and leaves them at the corner. Leaves them for us to pass around the utensils, okay? Yeah. Doesn't make eye contact when she's delivering the food, never makes eye contact for the entire experience. So the experience is a bad experience, no matter how good the food is, that if the experience is not better than the food, then you will not have people coming back. If the food and the experience is up here, now you will have people telling other people about what you have. So you are creating an experience every time somebody is with you. And that initial connection with your prospect, in the case of us being a family in that restaurant, that if I have to wait too long, if I don't have a good connection with that waitress, you're giving me a bad experience for dinner. So the food doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Your product is totally insignificant because I'm walking away with how I feel. And how I feel is determined by how I'm treated. Did you hear what I said? And that's what people are paying for. They're paying for treatment. They are paying for better treatment than what they can get at home. Otherwise, they would be at home. Does that make sense? So it goes for every job it is that you have. And for those of us that are wives, you see, I used everything I knew in business I brought that into my home. Treated my husband as though he was the CEO. He's the head of our organization. My children were employees, training them up. I'm somewhere in middle management. President, he's CEO. We're both co-founders of this family, right? So I wanted to make sure that my husband, and still to this day, it's the same way. In fact, my brother was at the house when this happened. It's like, okay, it's 5 o'clock. I better go put my makeup on. He's like, why? Because Hans is going to be home within an hour. But why are you going to go do that? Because my husband's coming home. Why would I do that? Well, if I would get myself dolled up to come and go to work, but I don't get myself dolled up to present myself to my husband, that is so wrong, and that's wrong priorities. That if I look better when I go to the office than I do when I see him, that means he's a lower priority to me. And that's flat out not right. That if I look better when I go to the grocery store than when I greet him at the door, that means he's a lower priority. That's what that means. If I'm in sweats all day and my hair's in a messy bun and I'm not taking care of myself, I simply am not honoring my boss at all. I'm not honoring myself and I'm not honoring my boss. So whichever way that I would show up for business or some kind of a meeting, I better make sure that I give my husband my best. It's the same reason why there's always an extra pack of clothes inside of my purse or my carry-on bag that's something beautiful and sexy for when he sees me after I've come back from a trip. You'll not see me I'll walk in sweats in an airport, but as soon as I land, I'm in the bathroom and this is all getting fixed up. I don't care if it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I just spoke for 3 solid days. I got off stage at 5 o'clock. I jumped on a plane at 7 and I arrived at 1 a.m. He is not going to see me with a ball cap. He's not going to see me greasy. He's not going to see me a mess. He's going to see me looking hotter than hot. And 100% all about him when I see him. Why? He's the highest priority in my life. Why would I look this way on stage here but not present to him? Why would I give him leftovers of me? That's wrong to give him leftovers. That's completely wrong. So anyway, so the initial connection, that means everything. So how are you serving the one that you're serving at home? How are you presenting yourself to that person? Both of you. This is a both and. My husband looks hot all the time too. So fine, man. This is really bad that I'm talking about him too early in the weekend because this is going to be really, really bad. He's only an hour away. It's going to torment me for 3 days. Anyway, so the initial connection, what initial connection are you making with the prospect? How are you making them feel? Are you listening to me? How you make the prospect feel determines the success of your organization. How do they feel? It's not so much about how they feel about your product. It's how they feel being engaged with you.